what happens when we're caught in phase one is we've got a whole bunch of dopaminergic cycles that have got our brain working against ourselves and making behaviors that we really should be welcoming and trying to do more of, making those less attractive, making those less interesting to ourselves, less comfortable, something that is negative, something that we don't want to do. And it works the other way as well, right? What happens when every time you do any kind of workout, you reward yourself with, say, a chocolate shake, right? Let's say because you burn 1,500 calories doing jumping jacks, your policy is that I get to have a donut, right? A 500 or 600 calorie donut is your celebration for burning 1,500 calories. Never mind how shitty the math works out as far as trying to lose weight goes. Here's a much more important way to look at it. What you're doing is you're teaching your brain to love the fucking donut, right? And that's the problem. You don't want your brain to be thinking about rewarding yourself with donuts every time you hit some goal. And you definitely don't want to be reminding your brain all the time about just how insanely great a donut can be. And listen, they can be delicious, right? You ever tried cocaine? You ever tried heroin? I've never tried heroin, but I hear it's really good and really fun and interesting and all that. But I don't do those things because there's a whole bunch of really hardcore costs that come with them, right? So I have the same policy when it comes to jelly donuts, right? Because jelly donuts and heroin are in some ways not far off in terms of this whole dopaminergic cycle and how it works and whether or not it becomes a reward for your brain or not, right? And of course the behaviors that you associate it with. Don't forget, Pavlov dogs, as much as we make fun of Pavlov's dogs, the bell rings, he basically invented the idea of conditioning by teaching dogs to basically salivate whenever they heard a bell ring, because he just conditioned them for them to understand, or for them to expect. Every time the bell rang, they got fed, right? He basically did that behavior repeatedly over and over and over again until it got to the point where he could ring the bell, and without bringing food, without any hint of food anywhere in sight, the dogs would start salivating because, they've been conditioned. That's what that's called, conditioning. Right? And it's the conditioning, it's the same kind of conditioning that we've got to do if we're ever going to train our brains to like the kinds of things that we need to do to be healthy, right? And to dislike the kinds of things that we need to stop doing so much of that are making us unhealthy. So that's what we mean by dopaminergic cycles and why they're so important. And if we're not thinking about it, if we have some kind of, transactional relationship with and we're only thinking about calories, what happens? We go out, we burn calories and transactionally reward ourselves with calories and just end up creating the worst possible dopaminergic cycles in our brain as possible. Meaning we train ourselves to love the things that we should want to be doing less of and to hate the things that we're trying to do more of. Right?